Welcome to my latest experiment. This is a big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. They call me Old Yeller, 'cause I've got the rabies. I froth at the mouth while I'm fucking your baby. You better calm down, 'cause you're acting crazy, and if you don't rein it in, you'll be pushing up daisies. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast. I'm Harley Neville.
And I'm Guy Pigden, and I can't believe we wasted the intro on one of your lyrics.
Ah, that was awesome.
That was
way to badmouth the product, bro. We're rappers.
Not great. You know, it's really funny that you use that quote, right?
Why?
Because I was thinking of an episode of the Guy and Harley web series, the show that we're working on, where basically you tell someone that you're a rapper. You just say, oh, well, I also do rapping, from time to time as well. I take that very seriously. And she quotes that exact lyric and goes, really?
Really? You're very serious? Yeah.
Really?
So if you guys want to hear the original, on which Guy raps as well, we'll post it in the comments below, but it's called HGH, The Good, The Bad and The Ugly.
A great beat from
Hamish Gavin.
The
homosexual
who's away at the moment. He's in London.
Yeah, the third member of our rap posse is away, and he was the one that did all the hard work, such as the producing and the creating of beats and all that. And
yes,
so basically our rap career is dead now.
It is. It's gone.
Probably for the best.
Well,
arguably for the best.
Arguably.
Although we had a lot of fun as rappers.
We had some laughs. We had some good times.
We have 2 rap music videos out. So make sure you check those out on the Pigville YouTube channel. One's called Back in the Days, and the other one's called The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly.
Well, we have a couple of unreleased tracks as well.
Well, I was actually thinking about those last night, or the night before. I was thinking I should get the final mixed versions off Hamish, and I'll just upload them to YouTube with photos of us.
Yeah.
Just like I've been doing with the podcasts lately.
Yeah. Podcasts,
and just put them up.
Huge success on YouTube.
It has been.
We now get more listeners on YouTube
than we do on iTunes.
Do on the fucking everything else. So that's great. But yes, so a wild success there.
Yeah, it has been.
It's a good idea for me to suggest that. I thought of that. So I'll take all the credit.
Even though I'm the one putting it all together.
Tripled our viewership, thanks to me.
Yeah, okay. They're all, if you want to see the back catalogue of podcasts, you can. That's all on our YouTube channel as well. Just search Pigville, and I've put pictures over them of all of sort of interesting pictures of us over the years, so if you're a really hardcore fan, you can
and the slightly
check that out.
Incorrect aspect ratio.
That's not my choice, man. That's just Final Cut does that. Final Cut does that.
Okay, well,
don't be getting on my balls, motherfucker. Do you want to do the editing? Do you want to do that? Classic Pigden. It's never good enough with you, is it? I'm trying.
Try my hardest. So you can check those out. This is the Guy and Harley Show. This is a filmmaking podcast. This is a life podcast. This is a Dry July podcast.
The sober podcast.
Now, it's very disappointing because normally we have a few drinks while we do this.
It makes it a lot more fun.
Much to my delight. But we've stopped that because Harley's doing Dry July, which means I am doing Dry July by proxy because I only scab alcohol off Harley. He buys it all and I scab it. And so, if he's not buying any, there's no scabbing going on.
Yeah.
So it's created a real problem for me.
Well, look, I mean, we're like a third of the way through. Only I don't know, 3 more weeks or so.
Yeah.
So don't fret. And if you want to sponsor me on Dry July, you can just search Harley Neville on dryjuly.co.nz and give me a sponsor. And all the money goes to the Southern Cancer and Blood program. and because that's looking after my boys back home in Dunedin, because I'm a southern man and I'm proud.
Now, what the hell is that you're puffing on?
Oh, now this, I've been vaping lately, so...
He's fucking, like, this guy says he's not a hippie. He rejects the hippie label. He's a vaping with, like, an e-cigarette thing. What is that? That is... I don't understand the difference between an e-cigarette and a vape.
Well, neither do I. Aren't they the same thing?
I guess. But that's got no... Like, that's something different, isn't it? It's like what you're sucking in is something different.
Yeah, so this is kind of like shisha.
Right.
It's essentially like a shisha-style thing. There's no nicotine in it, because smoking's bad.
Yeah.
And it just tastes like in this case, it tastes like an energy drink, kind of.
Right. Broad as daylight, whipped out the old e-vapor and had a big old toke on that.
Well, it's dry July, man, so I've got, I've got to replace my vices,
Yeah.
Been drinking a lot of ginger beer lately.
Yeah, so no drinking for you. Vaping is the new thing. Mm-hmm. It's the new hippie thing that you've
picked up,
brought into your...
to be fair, I've been doing this for quite a while.
I just haven't really seen it.
Yeah, well, because I got a new one, you see, so it's probably a bit more prominent now, but I used to buy the $10 ones from the liquor store.
A flash new vape? You've got yourself a flash new vape?
Yeah, refillable.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah. Complete waste of money.
Well, not if you enjoy it.
Well, I do enjoy it, but it just seems like a bad habit to pick up. Why would you pick up the habit of sort of smoking something at the age of 32? It makes sense if you smoke cigarettes and you want to have that habitual kind of motion of smoking something, but you don't want the nicotine and all that.
Yeah.
It makes sense. You might swap over to a nicotine-free e-cig, but, if you don't smoke, really, what's the point in picking up the habit?
Yeah.
So,
especially token on that purple monstrosity.
Yeah, it is purple. So to quote Colin Farrell in, this is no spoilers, but to quote Colin Farrell in the new True Detective, he says, those e-cigs, I just don't know. I mean, I just don't know how I don't know if I like the way they make you feel, because I guess they're kind of like sucking on a robot's dick. And should a cigarette really make you feel that way? or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Gave me a chuckle.
Yeah, I chuckled too. And then I smoked my e-cig.
And then as you puffed on as you vaped away watching the show. So we've got a few things, there's a few subjects to touch on this week.
Good.
Important stuff.
Yep.
Now, first of all, I'm going to open up the Tinder files for a minute.
Okay, Tinder files.
Tinder files are open. Mm-hmm. Court is adjourned. Is it adjourned? It's in session.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you hear about this bad Tinder date? And it's on the web, like it's all over. It's blown up all over the web where they're like, she got the worst rejection from a guy. Look how she responded.
Right.
Have you seen that popping up everywhere?
I don't click on that shit.
No, but it's not just one of those. It's one of it's been covered in stuff and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it is clickbait, but it's basically about a girl who went on a Tinder date and then got this message from the guy.
Okay.
I'm going to read out what he said.
I'm waiting.
Hey Michelle, sorry been super busy at work today, hun. Thanks for a wonderful evening last night. I really enjoyed your company and actually adore you. You're cheeky and funny and just the sort of girl I would love to go out with if only my body and mind would let me. But I fear it won't. I'm not going to bullshit you. I fucking adore you, Michelle, and I think you're the prettiest looking girl I've ever met, but my mind gets turned on by someone slimmer. Shallow? Question mark? It's not meant to be. It's the same reaction you get when you read a great author or see an amazing image or listen to a piece of music you love. It has that instant reaction in you that makes you crave more. So whilst I am hugely turned on by your mind, your face, your personality, and God, I really, really am, I can't say the same about your figure. So I can sit there and flirt and have the most incredibly fun evening, but I have this awful feeling that when we get undressed, my body would let me down. Now, I don't want that to happen, baby. I don't want to be lying there next to you and you asking me why I'm not hard. There are certain triggers that fire my imagination into life, and your wit and intelligence are the beginning of that process, which would inevitably end in the bedroom with just one result: I'm so disappointed in myself, Michelle, because I've genuinely not felt this way about anyone in ages. But I'm trying to be honest with you without sounding like a total knobhead. We could be amazing friends. We could flirt and joke and adore each other. And fuck me, I would marry you like a shot if you were a slip of a girl, because what you have in that mind of yours is utterly unique. And I really, really love it. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to avoid bigger pain in the future by telling you now so we don't have to go through that embarrassment. I'm a man, with all the red-hot lusts of a man and all the failings of a man, and I'm sure of my own body and its needs. Please try and forgive me. I adore you. XX.
Right.
Now that's one Tinder message. Do you know how long that would take to compose in a Tinder message?
What?
Because it's all on your phone.
All on
You
your
can't just
phone,
type it up. You literally got to write. It's just be drafted that for. That's half a day's work right there.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So now she did write a response, but what was your take on that? What's your initial thoughts on that one?
Well, on the one hand, you can see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Now the guy is trying to be honest and say that he's not physically attracted to her, but that she's great.
Yep.
However, due to him being,
a knobhead,
a total knobhead, he just did it all wrong.
Maybe he got about it the right way,
and he didn't really need to specifically say that. He didn't need to say any of that, really. Just any of that stuff about her size or figure, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, on the one hand, at least he was trying to be actually honest. Like women always say, oh, why can't men be honest?
Yeah.
Or what,
why can't you just tell me what's the matter?
Tell me the truth.
Tell me why you don't like me.
Well,
he did.
It's like, he did.
And it brought the shitstorm of the internet down upon him.
Now, wait a second, though. As far as, if people ask you to be honest, and you have to be honest, which is that you're not attracted to the person's figure, but everything else about them's great. Well, he did an all right job. He did an all right job if you're gonna tell the actual truth.
Yeah.
But of course, we all know that it doesn't. In real life, when people say they want to hear the truth, they don't really want to hear the truth.
Don't.
They want to hear the sugar-coated version of it still. And this guy obviously missed that lesson somewhere, but he's learned it now.
He's learned it through the internet insanity.
Yeah. So now, anyway, presumably his accounts have all been hacked.
Well, just everyone.
Nude pictures of his willy have been leaked on the internet.
Just
and everybody hates him, and he's sitting on the edge of a bridge as we speak.
Well, I will say a couple of things about this, right?
Yes.
Now, first, at the end of the day, what everyone is mad about, they can't be mad about. Because everyone is mad, is like, body shaming, bringing her figure into it. Well, no fucking shit. That's what we all do. Like, this goes both ways. Like, that girl wasn't necessarily like, this guy is amazing, but, I'm not attracted to him, because he's a bit chunky. She could have entirely thought that. She could have had that thought, or, I don't like him because his nose is too big.
Yeah.
I don't like him because his teeth are not straight. There's so many things.
Or I'm really attracted to your mind. I'm really attracted to your mind.
But those
I think you're a funny guy.
Disgusting teeth.
But you're short and you're bald. And your back's real hairy. So,
are we talking about the same guy now?
Yeah, it's hypothetical.
If he had those things.
Well, he might.
he might.
he might have those.
Some people have them.
Yeah.
So, that, I guess the whole, it's this whole internet outrage thing. We all love to get outraged about stuff on the internet now.
I don't.
I know, me neither. I get outraged by the internet's outrage.
Yeah.
that actually really rubs me the wrong way. And stuff like this. Yes, this guy was a dick to say this, but he didn't think he was being a dick.
Yeah.
He thought he was being a nice guy, and he's just an idiot. He's just a bit of a doofus.
Yeah.
So it's like a well-intentioned doofus getting something wrong, but actually trying to let someone down gently and just not quite doing it right.
Yeah.
And then this, obviously, I'm reading this to you, right?
Yeah.
This was a private message.
Yeah.
This was never meant to be public.
Yeah.
It was never meant for us all to analyze it and break it down and go, hey, what about this? What about that? This bastard, this cad, all these women leap to their feet and go, this is disgusting. He'd never really signed up for any of that.
No.
He signed up for a Tinder rejection.
Yeah.
And so, is that fair?
Well,
I'm not sure that it is.
Especially when you take into consideration, as you said, that's half a day's writing on a Tinder message. The guy really put in a lot of effort. He's doing his best. He really did try. He could have just not texted her back. He could have just not got back to her.
Yep.
He could have just let her on a bit.
Yep.
He could have oh yeah, we'll meet next week, and then not met with her. Know, or he could have made up some bullshit. I'm just not ready. It's about me, not you.
Yeah.
The guy's a saint. The guy's a fucking hero. If you think about it, the internet should be heaping praise upon him for his attempt at being honest.
This is where we start, Harley. This is me and you, the campaign for this guy. Yeah. Richard, I think his name was.
Leave Richard alone!
Richard on Tinder. Well, no, look, I just think that just really rubs me the wrong way how we all get in trouble for objectifying other people. I got in trouble the other week for objectifying someone on Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, Harley, thank you. And some people leapt and say that I was being sexist, and I was like, no, I am objectifying someone. I'm saying they look hot. I'm not going to bat an eyelid if you say that Jon Snow looks hot.
Yeah.
I'll go, respect, brah. That's all fine. They both look hot, and that is, I have no issue with that. You can find him attractive. I'll find her attractive. I'll make little jokes on Facebook about Game of Thrones, and we're all good. Why we got to bring in the sexist element to this?
It's the go-to. It's the go-to nowadays.
It's all just getting a bit carried away. But I'm going to read her response anyway. Okay. See what you think of her response.
I'm ready.
And this is on her blog, which has got 5 bazillion views, I might add.
Why?
Well, this is how it was all discovered. Yeah.
Because of this, or because she was already had a following?
Well, no, I don't think she had a following. So she got this rejection. She put it on her blog. It became a worldwide news piece. Her response: "You don't have to fancy me. We all have a good friend who we look at ruefully and think, you're lovely, but you just don't tickle my pickle. We wish we were attracted to them, but our bodies and our brains don't work like that, and that's fine. What isn't fine is the fact that after a few hours in my company, you took the time to write this utterly uncalled for messages. It's nothing short of sadistic. Your tone is saccharine and condescending, but the forensic detail in which you express your disgust at my body is truly grotesque. The only possible objective for writing that is to wound me. I am ashamed to say for a few moments it worked. You stirred a dormant fear that every woman who was ever a teenager has, that it doesn't matter how funny you are, how clever you are, how kind, how passionate, how loyal, how determined, or adventurous or vibrant, if you're a stone overweight, no one will ever find you desirable. I like the way I look. I don't look like Charlize Theron, and that's fine. I look like me, and I like myself, and I'm sure Charlize Theron does too. If I ever met her, I hear good things. And you may think all my profile pictures are FGASS. That's fat girl angle shots. Pictures from angles that slim and flatter the girl, because men only ever use candid, brutally lit, unfiltered pics. Like, I think that's being sarcastic.
I think she might be.
But I think they're a fair representation, and I'm pretty upfront about who I am. I describe myself as a woman who loves pizza and includes links to my Instagram page, where I have everybody... Jesus Christ, Angie! We should keep it down over there, please. Fucking hell.
She's maintaining the fire, bro. It's got to be done.
I describe myself as a pizza... I like to think I come across as a confident, happy woman, but could this be the very reason you have targeted me? Did you see me and think she has far too high an opinion of herself? She needs bringing down a peg or two. I have to ask, we all know the internet is a dangerous place to be a woman with opinions. I discovered this firsthand when I ventured a response to those obnoxious bloody adverts. I showed your message to friends who expressed shock, horror, embarrassment on your behalf, and a desire to cause you actual physical harm. One male friend told me I have a lovely bottom. If unmarriageable, I laughed with them. Then I cried in my Slimming World group, That's right, Slimming World. You see, I already know that I'm overweight. I can tell you exactly how overweight I am. 20 pounds. I've already lost 15. I've a stone and a half to go, and I'm happy with that. I will get rid of it safely and healthily. Does that mean I can't love and enjoy my body now? Fuck no. I'll never see or hear from you again. You may feel the need to respond to this blog. Please don't. There's nothing you can say that will make me think that you're not a total disgrace to your gender. What truly concerns me, the real reason I'm responding so publicly, is the fact you have a 13-year-old daughter, a talented illustrator who collects manga comics and wants to visit Japan as soon as possible. I want you to encourage your daughter to love, enjoy, and care for her body. It belongs to her and only her. Praise her intellect and her creativity. Push her to push herself and be fearless. Give her the tools to develop a bomb-proof sense of self-esteem so that if, I'll be kind and say if, the time comes that a small unhappy man attempts to corrode it, she can respond as I do now.
Classic female overreaction on that one. Fucking calm your tits. Calm your tits, love. You know? I mean, steady on. Where she went wrong was in about the second paragraph where she was like, you were trying to hurt me, you were trying to be vindictive. And it's like, no, it didn't really read that way to me. To me, it read like he was trying and failing to be honest.
He was being an insensitive jerk guy trying to be sensitive.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, so that's where she went wrong. So then she goes into this big spiel about all that body shaming and all that. And she's right if he was like...
trying to do that.
Yeah, if he was like, you're a fat bitch and I'm not
also,
interested.
he didn't go into extreme detail.
No.
He said twice,
he did say that he didn't think her body would be able to provoke an erection in him.
Yeah.
Which is arguably a bit... What was the word she used? Clinical or not clinical?
Forensic,
that's the word, yeah. So there's no doubt about it.
But
the guy went too far.
He was explaining a problem that was going to happen,
yeah,
though.
He was explaining his fears here as well, Now, the guy went too far, but, I really don't think he was out to hurt her.
No. So who went too much further here? Her or the guy?
Well, I feel like, she said some intelligent stuff, but she was still just she was sort of jumping on the old self-righteous...
She's jumping on a crusade that was
crusade.
Not... she was... The crusade had not left the building.
No,
you know? It was still, because the guy that she made out wasn't the guy. But unfortunately, I feel like, the way the news and everyone's picked this up has accepted that.
Yeah.
And not really kind of read what he wrote.
Yeah.
And he did ask for this to be taken down, which she refused. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So this private message that he sent her, which again, as a doofus trying to let her down gently, has now been made public. He can't do anything about it, and everyone's, I'm sure, ruining his life right now. Her life is great. She's got all this attention for this thing.
I bet as a result of this...
I'd just like to add, when she got this message, she was on another Tinder date.
Right.
So she was on a date with someone else the next day. She wasn't waiting for this guy to...
Yeah.
She was doing totally fine. So I don't even show why... Yeah, but anyway.
Well, consider this. I bet his 13-year-old daughter has been bullied as a result of this now.
Yeah.
I bet, because she made this public and she brought his daughter into it in the message, and then she published the message, and now that girl's at school and people are like, ha, your dad's a fat shamer.
It's reverse. It's reverse bullying. It's bullying bullies.
Yeah. Well, no, it's bullying the daughters of bullies.
About their bullying.
Ha ha. Your dad doesn't like fat chicks. So, that's my thoughts on that.
Your dad doesn't promote good body image amongst women.
Ha ha. Your dad's brutally honest.
Haha, your dad has no social filter.
So yeah, that's
your take on.
That's my take on that one.
So we've championed this hero, Richard.
Yeah.
Richard, we feel sorry for you, mate. Look, need to learn a little bit of tact for the next one.
But your heart was right.
But your heart was in the right place.
Your heart was right, mate. So...
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, this comes to actually very serious matter.
Serious.
Much more serious
Here we go.
than that little
Big
Tinder.
news in the Tinder world.
It is with great sadness and regret that I now must close the Tinder files for good, or until further notice. I'm off. I'm out. The
Yep.
Tinder files. I'm shutting up shop. I'm closing it down.
Yep.
The app is off my phone.
Yep.
It's gone.
Good. That means that when you sign back up, you can re-swipe all those girls.
That's true. I have this section has to be retired because I've met a lovely lady, and we are now officially dating.
Oh, gone steady.
Well, don't put words in my mouth.
All right. But dating.
But seriously dating.
Dating to the point where you can't be going on other
dating,
dates.
no Tinders, and I'm very happy. As I said, I'm like a giddy schoolgirl, like a giddy teenage schoolgirl again.
Well, so Tinder has been. I remember when you first signed up for Tinder, you were not really a fan.
I was very
It was very
apprehensive.
negative. He
Super
didn't like
negative.
it. He didn't like it.
Not a fan at all.
Not a fan. Tinder has been very, very good to you.
Tinder has brought me some bounties. There's no doubt about
It's
that.
been very good to you. And now here you are, reaping
Yes.
your reward,
Yep.
going steady.
Going
Basically,
steady with
after
a lovely lady.
after a year or more of sitting in your tiny bedroom all by yourself.
Well, not a year or more. It's like 6 months. Maybe.
Yeah, so that's
half
good.
a year, isn't
Tinder, Tinder saved the day. So there you go, people. It does work.
The system works.
The system
I'm
works.
here to tell you the system
It's
works.
not just about shallow hookups and
No.
trips to the
STD clinic.
sexual health clinic.
No, it's about true love. And it's
Trips
about...
to the sexual health clinic.
it's about true love and trips to the sexual health clinic on account of true love. It's it has been good to me. I've had some laughs. I've had some wonderful times. I've had a couple of negative experiences too.
Yeah.
I've had a few debacles.
Yeah.
Within the Tinderverse as well.
Yeah.
It hasn't all been roses.
But it's mostly been right.
But mostly it has been. And so, it's sad to close the door on that part of my life.
Yep.
And this segment in the podcast.
Yep.
And
And next week, the Grinder 5.
with Harley Neville.
With Harley
You'll
Neville.
have to pick up the slack now. It's a bit of a moment of loss, a bit of mourning. So we're just going to take a little moment to acknowledge our
Farewell.
fallen comrade that is Tinder. I got a little tear in my eye there for a minute.
It's good.
Peeled down my cheek and dropped off my chin onto the desk.
Wait, you better don't be too sad, or this new person on the scene will be like, "Hey, why the fuck are you so sad to leave Tinder?"
Yeah, I better rephrase that. I'm very happy. She is possibly listening. It has been an amazing journey. I'm very glad that Tinder's gone. But I did also prepare this speech.
I'm very glad that Tinder is gone, but here's this
Because the thing is,
remorseful speech.
Tinder's not just about me. It's about the wider world of finding love. Mm-hmm. And while, my quest has been successful, there's many others that still must struggle on without me and without this segment to bolster them.
Yeah.
and make them feel good about that. But, you know, I don't want you to give up hope. You know, I don't want you to delete the app. You know, I want you to find true love as well. I want you to find true romance. I want you to be able to say that you are officially dating someone as well.
If that's what you're looking for on Tinder.
Yeah, well, look, if you just want to hook up, obviously...
Good luck with that too.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But so I just prepared this speech earlier, and this is kind of just off the top of my head, so you'll just have to bear with me. Sons of Tinder, of right swipes, my brothers, I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the courage of men on Tinder fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day. An hour of wolves and shattered selfies when the age of matching comes crashing down. But it is not this day. This day, we swipe. By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you swipe. Men who are left on Tinder.
Nice, you wrote that yourself?
I did.
Oh yeah, I thought so.
So that is closed. We're closing those files for the final time. Thank you very much. Now, got anything? Got some listen topics, perhaps?
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, seems fitting. Fits with relationships. Is news in my life.
Yeah.
Is that...
Oh, yeah, you got some big news. We're going to talk about this one.
Yeah, I thought we'd talk about it. Break the story on the internet.
Yep.
Make it official.
Yeah, I'm about to have no friends.
All official. All right, so here's the situation. Angie and I have been going out for 3 and a bit years, almost 3.5 years, and it's
long time.
It's a long time, and it's
real ball and chainer.
Yep, and it's a real. It's the longest relationship I've had.
Real drag,
and it's a real good one. She's an exceptional woman. She is sitting right behind me.
She's rotating the fingers to me. The middle finger, that is.
But I'm cool, right? And so yeah, she's an exceptional woman. I've got a very good relationship with her. I'm very happy. You know, we don't fight too often. And
she's way out of your league.
When we do fight, it's not about anything too serious, and she's way out of my league.
It's very important. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
And this is why I can't just let her go. And so what's happened is 15 years ago, her dad moved to America from Colombia with the intention of, becoming a citizen and getting his...
And quitting his job in the cartel, which he was formerly head of.
Drug joke. Colombians don't like those. I'm sure Angie's giving him the fingers again. Colombians don't like those. It's like... I don't know. I guess it's like racist to assume that all Colombians are somehow involved in the drug industry.
Yeah, it is a little bit racist, but I guess I'm just going from what I've seen of the man.
All right. Well,
his general demeanor.
He does kind of look like a Colombian gangster.
Yeah.
And so anyway. What was I saying? I was saying that Angie's dad went to America 15 years ago with the intention of becoming a citizen so that he could, and then getting his daughter's residency so they could come over and live with him or getting them green cards. And then that application took, a long, long time. 15 years or so. And then it's now looking very much like it's going to be approved. And, meanwhile, Angie's growing up. She's over here in New Zealand. She's got a whole other life going on. But, she can't really say no to, A, being closer to her family. B, an American green card is, a lot of people want that. It's not the type of thing you lightly say no to.
Colombian cartels kill for that.
They probably do. And then...
She poked me in the butt. It was quite sore.
Poked me in the pilonidal sinus. And so And then the third thing was, I guess, she's also just got to try it, right? Because you never know. You can't say no for a relationship and then just never know what could have happened in the States. So look, it's looking like she's going to have to go over to America. But as it happens, she's going to LA.
Yeah.
Now that happens to line up quite nicely with my goals and aspirations as well in the filmmaking industry.
AKA Hollywood.
And so what it's looking like, the plan tentatively is looking like when this visa is approved that I might go over there initially for 3 months on a 3-month tourist visa with the intention of saving enough money before I go to be able to try and work full-time on getting cast in something while I'm there. Yeah. So doing like auditions and acting classes and accent classes and, whatever the fuck else really, just to meet people and network and see what doors I can open.
Throw me a bit of your American accent that you've been working on.
I haven't been working on any American accent.
Chuck one in there.
Don't they just talk like this?
It's good.
It's good. I'll be playing the New Zealander. I'll be playing the Kiwi or the Englishman.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I see. There we go. That's my English. Jolly good.
Yeah, I'll just give him that Star Trek impersonation that you're famous for.
What
Scotty.
I don't have the power. So yeah, I might have some troubles when I'm in LA anyway. I'm just saying I might have I might need a few classes.
Might be some obstacles you need to overcome.
But so anyway, the plan is to go over there, try to make it for 3 months, and then basically, while I'm there, I guess the intention is to try and get sponsored for some sort of visa, which, as I understand, you can do it if you get a job or get cast, so pretty much see how that goes, and then not really sure what happens after that 3 months with regards to the relationship. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So that's where I'm at the moment, but I actually think it could be it could make this podcast way more successful because if we keep doing well, no, because if we keep doing the podcast, right, and I'm over there and you're here, we market it as two Kiwi filmmakers, one in LA, one in Auckland. And we kind of, we're going to have all sorts of stuff to talk about of what's happening in LA and all that type of thing, what's happening in between.
We are going to have some interesting stories, for sure. You
could definitely do some stuff there where it's, I feel like that's a hook. That's a hook that people might actually listen to. Oh, New Zealand filmmakers. Oh, in LA and in Auckland. Oh, I will think of some name for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I actually think it could be a positive.
Yeah. The Guy and Harley LA to Auckland cast.
Something. We'll think of something.
We'll figure it out.
We'll think of something.
It's a work in progress.
So that's what's happening with me.
It's going to leave
any thoughts on that?
Well, it's going to leave a bit of a hole in my life.
Yeah.
On several.
You're really going to miss Angie.
on several counts. Obviously, I'm going to. My best friend is going to be gone. 3 months is not actually that long a time, not in my mind anyway.
No. Sometimes it goes 3 months. I don't even see Guy around the house.
No, I mean it's true that sometimes you get busy. These things. So 3 months would seem like a long time once upon a time. It doesn't seem like a long time to me now. Also, we do have quite a few things in the pipeline, but like at the end of the day, the main things that I have to do is editing older, and writing the next thing.
Both of which you don't really need me for.
Not really, no. And not as long as I can still correspond, it's not really an issue. So, from that side of things, it's not really going to be an issue in the foreseeable future. But, going a little bit further ahead, to, setting up projects and stuff to film, well, yes, that will be a concern. And also just the fact that, my best buddy is gone. And, now I've got no friends.
Well, look, the thing is, though, that, I would hope that if I did go over there and I did get some sort of visa, if that did somehow happen, I like to think that would really just be the catalyst for moving you over there as well. Because when we went over there, Guy had lots of meetings with, producers and writers and other people, other filmmakers, all of which seemed to have a lot of time to talk to him. They were very generous with their time, and these were quite established people, and so I think, it would be quite great if you did go over and get representation as a writer or whatever. It might be the next logical step for Pigville.
It could be.
The only issue is it's just a little bit premature is all, because it would be good to do it, when the zombie film is sold internationally and when Older is out.
Yeah.
But, this is the real world and things don't always work out exactly according to plan, but it might still...
Premature etravulation.
Yes, exactly. That's it. Etravulation. I see what you did there. So yeah. But that ties in nicely, if you're done with that topic.
Sure.
That ties in nicely with our first listener topic.
Well, I've got a girlfriend now, so I don't really care about you.
Oh, right. Girlfriend.
Get the fuck out.
Girlfriend, all official.
Well, no.
Using the G-bomb.
I'm just dating someone seriously.
Right.
So get out. I've got no time for you anyway.
Yeah, well, listen, if you're listening, it's over if Guy has to move to America. So
you just throw that one out.
He's going to choose me, not you. Now, so Blair Martin is a long-time listener.
Yeah.
I told him I'd give him a shout-out. Blair Martin.
Thank you, Blair.
Thanks for listening. And this week, he has his first listener topic. He said, "Gentlemen, listener question. Virtual reality technology such as Oculus Rift is advancing rapidly and has many possible applications within film, gaming, and also sex simulation. How do you guys think this tech will change the way we watch films? And could virtual reality sex be the future? Will you guys give virtual reality boning a crack?"
Like what he did there with his phraseology.
Yeah, well, see, now the thing is, it ties in nicely. I'm going to be over in LA. We could get some Oculus Rifts and we could try some virtual reality boning.
Yeah. Because there's no touching, so it's not gay.
So it's not gay. Exactly.
Obviously someone's going to have to do the spin-off Oculus Dick. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that has to happen. They have to call it that. Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, so I...
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So Oculus Rift, for people that don't know, is basically a VR headset, virtual reality headset. You put it on and, you see things, and like it basically, it wraps around your head, absorbs your senses, and then you put some sensor stuff on you to control. So, obviously the first thing you're thinking about is games where you're actually in the world of the game.
Really? That's the first thing you were thinking about?
The first people, normal, non-perverted people think about is its application to games, but also like just, for instance, in medicine, you can perform operations in this proper VR environment, which would react exactly as it would in real life. For example,
what, like as a training sort of thing?
Yeah, as a training application. So it just has many. So you could do a dry run of removing a brain tumor.
Yeah,
you could have all the stuff there. Exactly the same, do that successfully, do it on the real person, as an example. And so there's lots of applications in any sort of skilled thing that you can apply that to with this type of training. So it could be that, it would be used in video games, and then obviously the biggie, the most important, sex. Because you just strap this on, you strap some sensors to your wang, boom, you're away.
Well, what you'd be doing would be it'd be for when if
you'd strap a blow-up doll to your wang.
Exactly, like if your partner is overseas, right? You could get him or her to wear it as well.
You better copyright this, mate. You better trademark.
I'm sure this is already happening.
Trademark the Skype Oculus sex.
Yeah, I'm sure, mate. I didn't think of this. Like, I guarantee, in fact, I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure Blair mentioned it. There's they hooked up two different Oculus Rifts, like a guy and a girl. In different rooms, and they gave the girl a dildo and they gave the guy a fake vagina, and they put on the Oculus Rift and connected them up to each other so they could see each other. Somehow, and then they fucked virtually, but they had not fucked in real life, and then they put them in the same room together and made them talk to each other. I think it was a Vice. I think he said it was a Vice documentary. That's yes, I would definitely give virtual reality boning a go, because of course, why would you not? But just imagine the hilarity if you walked into my room and I had the Oculus Rift on. I can't hear you, I can't see you, and I'm just
naked.
I'm butt naked, and I'm just frantically pounding away at a fake vagina with this thing on my head, and I don't even know you're there.
Look, it's going to lead to a lot more murders, right? Because people are going to be, Oculus Rifting away and just have no concept, and burglars going to come and kill them and steal. But
also, you'd be like, you've been Oculus dicking my wife.
You programmed her. I know you fucking programmed her in. How dare you program my girlfriend into your Oculus Rift?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, look, I mean, to me, it's just a novel way to watch porn, right? It's just sort of a slightly different, a slightly more immersive way to watch porn at this stage.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, until they figure it, because we're talking about two separate technologies here. You got one technology, which is the virtual headset, and then you have the other technology, which is like, if you remember the old Wii video game console, Nintendo video game console, where the motion, and so you put the motion stuff on, you control it. That works much better in games, right? Because you're moving your hands about, you're kicking a ball. That's all fine, right? No one's stimulating your genitals. Okay. Now, yes, you can put a fake vagina on yourself, and you can do all these things, but that is not sex, So really, to make this the ultimate actual sex replacement or sex thing is to figure out creating the same sensation as sex. But the only at way the same time, and there's not really a way to do that anytime soon.
Well, yeah, the only way to do it would be with a really high quality
prostitute
sex doll.
Yeah. But even that wouldn't really work because I guess, again, if the sex doll is responding to your thoughts, of what, or the programming of so, she thrusts in the Oculus Rift and the doll responds in kind. Yeah. But it's just very, there's a lot of technology that needs to be mastered there.
Yeah. Well, look, we're still ironing out the kinks, but I believe that we can overcome this. Humanity has done some pretty impressive things.
The least
over
they
time.
can do is come up with a authentic feeling of virtual sex at Oculus Rift.
Well, look, I think on a non-perverted note, that it says here, how do you think this tech will change the way we watch films? I do think there could definitely be something for being inside a film. So, you put on the headset, the film starts playing, but if you look up, you see whatever is above you or above the character or something like that, and if you look behind you, you can see where he's just come from, and if you look to the right, to the left, whatever, you're immersed inside the film with the character.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's going to work better in games because they did actually discuss this recently with video games, with movies, sorry. But the effort it would take to shoot that
everything is, you shoot every angle,
because if you look to the left, you'll see a gaffer and a sound crew and a guy holding a boom. If you look to your right, you'll see a camera and the camera team and a focus puller and the director sitting in his chair. So, to create these fully 3D immersive worlds, that can be done computer generated with relative ease, but it cannot be done in sort of real life. It's just not practical. So I think that's why you'll find those video games popping up very quickly, but it would be a very long time. It would be almost combining those two technologies. So it's like creating these kind of computer generated environments and maybe throwing some actors into it, some real actors, and they're photorealistic, obviously, and that might be a way around it, but it'll be very tricky.
No doubt.
So I think it's going to be great for video games, really, and it's going to be good for training people, and I think that
it's definitely going to be good for sex too. It's going to be a step in the right direction if you can connected up with
In the right
somebody.
direction.
With,
We're going in the wrong direction here.
if you can connect it up with somebody who's far away, so you guys can essentially have Skype sex, but kind of in this virtual reality kind of way.
Yeah, it will be a bit more.
I don't know how
immersive.
the camera would work exactly, where the camera would be.
Also,
you know,
the other thing that will probably happen is that, again, it's all about this absorbing information, the way we intake information. So we probably, like, as we all walk around looking down at our phones now, it's very conceivable that we'll all walk around with Oculus Rifts on our head. We'll have a couple of things going all at the same time. So we'll be seeing what we're seeing in the real world. We'll be seeing our own world, or it'll be projecting our own world onto the real world. So you're kind of seeing what you want to see almost, and then the world around you sort of amalgamated into that.
Yeah.
But it's a far away. For now, it's just a more in-depth version of Skype sex.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I watched a video of rappers watching porn on the Oculus Rift for the first time.
Yeah.
And it was all these different rappers all compiled together. And yeah, it seemed very much that the porn was shot from the perspective of the wearer.
Yep.
You know, so you look down, you're getting a blowjob.
Yep.
Because the person had a GoPro on his head or something like that while he was getting a blowjob.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting.
But we're on board. I think we can safely say.
We would definitely try it.
So
we look forward to trying it.
So I now we are applying. This is a filmmaking podcast. We've talked about Tinder and virtual Oculus sex.
Well,
so far.
one last thing on that LA actually.
Yep.
Was that when I was talking to Angie the other day about moving to LA, I expressed a few concerns, about me not really fitting the profile of a Hollywood actor, like me not really, this kind of
Well,
this
you're not
idea.
a conventional leading man, shall we say?
We'll call it that. We'll say I'm not the conventional leading man. And I expressed some concerns that I'm going to be going over there and I'm going to be up against the best people from their towns, like all the people you meet in Hollywood, right? They're not from Hollywood. They've conquered Mississippi. And now they've
England and Australia in its entirety.
Yeah, and now they've moved to LA to try and make it there. And sure, over there a lot of them are waiters and shit like that. But back in their hometown, they're kind of the biggest fish in their pond, right? And I'm going to be going over there. Nowhere near as the biggest fish in my pond.
Having never conquered anything.
Having never conquered a thing.
In a country much smaller than those other ones I mentioned.
Exactly, and I'm going to go over there and I'm going to be competing with these people.
Yep.
Not just that, but, when we were there, you and I, we were there, the people were obviously, they were very beautiful.
There was some good looking people
Pretty much everybody was beautiful and in very good shape. And I sort of expressed these concerns to Angie, but she reassured me. She said, no. It's okay. There's lots of fat, bald actors in Hollywood. Every movie has a fat, bald guy. That could be you. I was like, okay, thank you.
And that's why we have girlfriends, to reassure us and make us feel good about ourselves.
So now at least
positive affirmation.
I guess she's saying that I'll get cast.
Yeah, she's supporting your career.
Yeah, in a roundabout kind of way.
So anyway, we're working on a web series proposal at the moment for the Guy and Harley show, which we've done 2 episodes of. You can see that on our...
It's a sitcom. It's on the YouTube channel, Pigville.
Although you have to sign in now to watch the first episode.
Because some fucking pussy flagged it as inappropriate, which meant that it was... you can't...
And what was it? Was it the drug use, the awkward sex... The masturbation. I mean, what was it?
What was it?
What wound them up?
To be honest, there was no masturbation in the first episode.
That's true. That's the second episode. So you couldn't have even called the masturbation on it.
Yeah. It must have been the sex and drug use.
Yeah, I guess so. Or the swearing. Was it the profanity? What rubbed him the wrong way about it? Did you try and get it unflagged?
No, I haven't yet, but I was going to wait until... Because at the moment, the name of the episode is I wasn't going to bring this up, but I mean, the listeners on our podcast, you guys are like the inner circle, right? So I'm going to give you
circle of trust.
Yeah, circle of trust here, guys. So I'm going to give you the secret. The truth is that I haven't called it the Guy and Harley podcast episode 1. Oh, sorry, the Guy and Harley sitcom episode 1 or the Guy and Harley show episode 1. I've called it sexy. No, what have I called it? I've called it the most awkward sex scene ever.
Yep. Exclamation point.
And it's got the words sex and awkward are both capitalized.
Yep.
And that has really worked. We're knocking on 4 million views now.
Yeah.
And we used to have 400.
Yeah.
And so that has really, really, really worked. But so anyway, I'm not going to try and appeal it until after we change the name back to the Guy and Harley podcast or the Guy and Harley show episode 1, because they're much more likely to say yes. They're not going to say yes to the most awkward sex scene ever. However, I don't
It's
actually.
a valid point.
I don't think they're going to unflag it. Yeah. That's just not how they operate.
So, we've been working on a proposal because we want to do a full season of this. And we've talked a little bit about shooting another episode, which we didn't quite get round to due to the zombie film commitments. So we wrote another episode. We haven't filmed it yet. We were planning to do that already, but we didn't. But you know what would really help us? Money. Say to the tune of $100,000.
$100,000 would be good.
Which is how much this web series fund is for. That's the maximum you can apply for.
Considering we shot the first 2 episodes for $100.
Well, yes, but technically we owe, for instance, for the sound mix, we owe $3,500 on that.
All right.
So they did it for free, but they're like, if you ever get money, this is how much it would have really cost. So it was actually a bit more. But I think when we say $100,000, you go, fuck me, that's a lot of money. You guys would be laughing. You'd be laughing all the way to the bank. No wonder all these rich filmmakers, get so much. This is ridiculous. You're all overpaid wankers. That's your initial thought. But so what I thought is I've been working on the budget for this web series, and I thought I'd just break down and this was something I did just very roughly. I drafted up a rough budget of how much this web show would cost, right? So I thought it would be interesting for people that are interested to see how I might budget and break down an episode. Mm-hmm. And so this is just very rough. So this is all, and what I budgeted turned out to be far too much.
Right.
So the conclusion that I've come to at the end of this is that we're going to have to do it for cheaper than this. But this is doing it cheaply. But if you wonder where that $100,000 goes, okay, this is all sort of on a per day basis, right? So you got your director, give him, and all of these rates, I might add, are a fraction of industry standard.
Yeah.
So every daily rate that I quote here is less than people expect. People expect more. Every single person expects more, sometimes by several thousand, So I'm undercutting people by thousands of dollars per day in some instances. So here's just a rough breakdown. Director, $250 a day. First AD, that's the assistant director who sort of runs the shoot, $200 per day. Director of photography, $250 per day. Second camera unit, he's the guy that works with the director. We're shooting 2 cameras at the same time. He's got $200 a day. Makeup artist, $200 a day. Actors times 4, all paid $200 each, $800 a day. Sound recordist, $250 a day. Runner, he's the shit heap, right? He's the worst, $125 a day. He's just getting people coffee and running errands. So, he's cutting his teeth. We're introducing him to the big time. He gets paid the least. Production designer, $200 a day. Props, that's just to purchase props, $200 a day. Catering, $250 a day. Camera hire, $200 a day. Again, camera hire costs much more than that normally. Lighting, $150 a day. That's ridiculous. You're not going to hire lights for $150 a day. That's how much I put. Location fees, $400 a day. Okay, so that was my rough breakdown, right? And then I'm saying that each episode is going to take 4 days to shoot. So that was my rough approximation. And what I came up to, that's just to shoot. So that's without the post-production involved yet. So just to film for 4 days at that rate to pay everyone. Everyone's all paid up, add it all together. That's $15,000 per 4-day shoot per episode. $15,100. Okay, then you add in your color grade. That's $1,000. You add in your sound mix.
1,000 per episode.
Yeah, 1,000 per episode, and that is for, again, cutthroat rates. Really, you know, like $800 a day is how much a grade suite normally costs. You know, and I'm saying grade a whole show for $1,000, which is going to take much more than a day. Then you've got your sound mix. I've put $3,000 a day. Again, that's pretty conservative for what you're asking for a 20-minute episode of something.
3,000 a day or 3,000 an episode?
Sorry, 3,000 an episode. Right. So the grade and the sound mix, we're talking per episode here. Same with the edit, $1,000 for the edit. Again, for a 20-minute episode, that is, you might, again, some editors get $1,000 a day. Some get sort of between $400 or $500, but, you know, to edit a whole thing like that, that's a lot. So music, haven't even talked about the score. Cutting corners here, $700 a day. Not a day, per episode. $700 to score a whole thing, but there's not too much music in the Guy and Harley show. So all told, to complete an episode, for the episode to be released, fully completed, everything, as it currently stands, is $20,000 per episode. 20,800. Now, that is not paying anyone well. That is shooting pretty quickly. That is, you know, a lot of corners. And we're already up to $20,000 per episode, which means that we could maybe do 3 episodes or 4 episodes max and then have a little bit left over, because we haven't talked about the writing yet. We haven't talked about the actual producer's fee. Mm-hmm. We haven't talked about insurance.
Marketing.
Promotion. And, you know, we haven't talked about, accounting, legal fees, a line producer, data space for all the hard drives and stuff for the editing. So what you're looking at there, that is a cheap episode, a very cheap episode of something. Now, of course, if each episode only takes a day, well, it becomes much cheaper, or a couple of days, so you save there. But I guess what I'm trying to get across is, you know, filmmaking ain't cheap. And, you know, as soon as you start paying people, you know, people go, oh, why am I not getting paid? Like, why am I, like the actor goes, I'm used to getting paid $600 to $1,000 a day, and you're paying me $200. Why?
Well,
what right do you have? I'm the talent.
Yeah, but you know what we'd say to them?
Well, I bring them this budget, break it down for them.
Well, not just that, but we'd say, there's so many hungry actors lining up out the door to get a paid gig, any kind of paid gig. So get
suck my dick.
So get the fuck out. Get the fuck out right now.
You might say
you're
that.
fired. You're fired. Stay out. Simon Ward, you're out.
But I just thought it was an interesting exercise to sort of break down for sort of newbie filmmakers how these kind of costs accumulate and add up, because, you know, that is a lot of money. And that is why when you decide to pirate something in your house, you're making a mistake. When you decide to pirate...
Or you're really, really getting your money's worth. Would be another way to look at it.
That's not the way I'd prefer them to look at it, Harley. So that is anatomy of a sort of, I guess, sort of hybrid. That's a kind of sitcom length show. That's why it takes 4 days to shoot, as opposed to maybe one day if it was like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But you know, that's not, you know, that's being very frugal. And we've got ourselves up to 20,000. So, you know, I'm going to have to find a way to knock 10,000 off that per episode before we hand that final budget in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought that was cool. Now, I just want to give a quick shout out to our podcast brothers. Will Fleming of Podfellas. I did a podcast with him, which is coming out.
I'm doing one with him
Yep.
on Saturday.
So he's interviewed Pigville separately. Now, normally when we're doing this, we're having laughs, we're joking, we're not really being that serious. Sometimes we talk about serious things or, do a bit of filmmaking talk, but it's all very jovial. His podcast is all about, how we are doing what we're doing, how we're doing it, what's our motivations, a real in-depth interview.
I'm scared now.
Some real fucking shit. Mm-hmm. So I'll be very interested to hear what you say.
Oh, shit.
To be honest, because my take on this stuff is going to be very different to yours. Mm-hmm. My motivations probably will be a little bit different, and my sort of thought process and mindset. So I'm looking forward to your one. But if you want to hear the Pigville boys sort of talking very seriously about the craft, you should tune in, because his podcast is very good. It's very interesting. He's interviewed like a lot of sort of celebrities over here in New Zealand, and we're considered celebrities.
We're celebrities.
That's not true. He's running out of people, so he threw us in there. But whatever. So it's very interesting, and in fact, we're going to be doing an ad on his podcast and vice versa.
Right, I was going to mention that because
might have already run that ad today, depending on
if it's put together
when I do this. But yeah, so shout out to Podfellas. You can find that on iTunes and podfellas.com. But looking forward to your interview. Looking forward to listening to that.
Well, I'm scared now.
The pressure's on, not to sound like a doofus, and
I was just going to make some dick jokes.
Yeah, exactly, and cheapen everything.
Right. Well, I might do that. Just be warned.
Is there any more questions before I do have one last topic myself?
Well, I did. You might recall last week I said, or the week before I said that I went for an audition for a low-budget drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Audition went really well.
Yep.
And then the director, came along and watched I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, and I bought him a drink to butter him up,
Yeah.
that was good. Didn't get the role.
So you bought him a drink.
Waste of money.
You showed him...
Absolute waste of money.
Showed him how talented you were. You put all your skills on review there.
Yep.
He analysed all of that. He's not paying you anything. He's not paying anyone anything. He's a first-timer.
Doesn't want it.
Has no experience. Doesn't want you.
Doesn't want me. Doesn't want me. He doesn't want me. What I'm saying is he doesn't want me.
He was so underwhelmed by all of those things.
Yeah.
The beer, the film, your audition.
My audition.
All of those combined to add up to nothing.
1 + 1 = nothing. So
well, I'm sorry to hear that. Now we can only wish on the folly, the failure of the thing. And
you'll go, I should have cast Harley.
Everything would have been fine if I just cast Harley.
Well, on the upside, though, I have another audition coming up.
Also, do you think it was a prejudice against shinies? Shiners?
I do actually suspect it was a bit of a prejudice against shinies, because shinies is the term I coined for us men who are follically challenged, and I think he might be. I think he might have taken issue with the shiny factor. Because he
hair, right?
He said he sort of said in his email to me, he said, "Hey Harley, you did a great audition, but unfortunately you don't fit the image I had for the character in my mind," kind of thing.
That being a guy with hair.
Yeah, basically
you're like, oh right, it's because I'm a shiny.
Oh, this is a bald thing, is it? Yeah. Yeah, well, story of my life. Story of my life in Hollywood as well. I tell you what, when I go over there, they'll be like, oh, we need a bald guy. We'll cast somebody with a full head of hair and then shave his head. Because we don't really
bald
like...
guys can never play bald guys.
No, we don't like associating. We just don't like being associated with shinies.
What you should do, as you're talking about, you're going to learn your accents, you're going to do some acting courses.
Yeah, you get a wig.
It's time for that wig investment, mate.
Yeah.
It's time for a couple.
The long hair one.
Time for a couple of tubes, bro. It's time to invest, because now you can debut those looks over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be the time. If I was ever going to start rocking a wig, that would be the time to do it when I go to LA, right?
Well, I was more just saying 4 specific
No, yeah,
auditions.
I know, 4 auditions. You show up.
Yeah.
I get it. But, I mean, I might
You
as
go,
well
I
just-
get it, but I might as well just do
wear
that
it.
full time because it's going to cost me a lot of money.
It is. Well, that's
and
the
then I'm
thing.
going to have hair and I'm going to look cool.
That's the thing. It will literally cost $3,000 or something.
Potentially. Potentially it will cost that much. Yeah.
So
So what am I going to do? Waste it
what
on
am I gonna
auditions?
got to leave it in the fucking wardrobe? It's time to come out of the closet. I'll come out. I'll just be rocking around Hollywood with a toupee.
It's time to accessorize, baby.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm not saying if I buy a wig.
I'm looking forward to
that
those photos of you
I
having
just
hair in
wear
LA.
it.
I'm really looking
I'm just
forward to them.
like, what's up, guys?
I'm just a cool young bro hanging out with you young bros.
Ooh, check out the shiny across the road. Disgusting.
Gross.
Hey, Brody, put on a hat.
Gross.
Oh, man.
Yeah, mocking your fellow. Yeah, I can see that happening. It'll be very funny if you do that.
Yeah, well, it might happen.
So, one final topic. Keep it light here.
All right.
Final topic. Now, you'll recall that I went to my sister's wedding.
Yes.
Now, it was a family affair. My uncle, my auntie, my cousins were there, and also my grandma, my one living grandma. And, lovely woman, very smart, seems, about 60 years old, not 80.
Right.
Which, in fact, she's 81, maybe just about turning 82.
Yeah.
So she's not a spring chicken. We're all staying at the house, right? Now, I have my old room at my house. And in my room, I have some old, shall we say, memorabilia.
Uh-huh. Is this Debbie Does Dallas?
There is basically... now, this is another thing that I'm not even sure. So I've got a chest of drawers, which is next to my bed in my room. And in that is a...
Trove
of porn.
of porn. Debbie Does Dallas, Kelly 18,
So
on VHS.
A bunch of DVD porn that, was ordered, many moons ago before the internet made it completely redundant to keep any porn. And also a bunch of old porn magazines. And, I'm going to be real. Some of these porn, there's old magazines there. From the 80s.
Yeah, valuable nowadays.
Well, what I'm saying is sometimes you just got to appreciate the classics.
Yeah.
Take a trip back in time.
Yeah.
To those days where, it was a little bit more muff down there. And, but things weren't all so clean, Boobies were real. Take a trip down memory lane. It's like...
Take a trip down memory lane.
And, that's the thing is it's like... basically time travel for wankers. I'm going back in time to have a jerk. And then I'm brought back to here and now, so I get the best of both worlds. But so I've got some old porn, which, is a little bit weird because it's so old. Why do I have 80s, magazines? Accumulate over time. Then there's some, then the DVDs we're talking about. Some of those DVDs have dubious titles. Asian Dolls Uncut.
Oh, I remember that one.
I remember that fondly.
Oh, I remember. Yep.
Anal.
I remember that one too. Now, if I recall correctly, Anal, that may or may not have been the one that had the song, which is forever stuck in my head.
Yep.
Forever. Well, I'll always remember this song. It goes. We are the happy asses. We have a lots of fun with bottoms.
That's correct.
That's the soundtrack from Anal.
So anyway, so I've got all this porn, proliferation of porn. It also maybe have some some handcuffs or some not handcuffs. What are they're not handcuffs, but they tie you up. They're not ropes, but they're kind of like cuffs, but they're not handcuffs.
Right.
That was bought for a joke.
Cable ties?
No,
cable tie
they're
up?
got leopard skin on them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're, from a sex shop, obviously.
Yeah.
Bought it sometime in the past. So I got all this stuff in there. Now, my grandma is staying in my room.
Mm-hmm. And now it's all gone.
She's staying in my room. Now, this is the thing. I don't even remember putting all that stuff in a drawer. So there's some question of how that all got in one drawer.
Right.
If it wasn't me.
Might have been mum cleaning it up.
But then this is where it gets really embarrassing, because my mum and my sister had to come to me before my grandma arrived and were like, yeah, so you know that giant stash of porn? That giant stash of weird porn that you have? But beside your Asian Dolls Uncut, all that porn that you've got, Hustler number 17, you have to move that, like now, because Grandma might see that, and we're not okay with it, but she's definitely not going to be okay with it. So you have to take your giant stash of porn and you have to move it somewhere else. Which means, surely, now if you break that down, but if you just take that back a little second, and I go, okay, sure, I've got to move that, no probs. I'll put it all down the garage.
I'll put it with your dad's stash. He must have some.
Well, yeah, but they don't necessarily know about that because he's a bit more cautious than putting it right in the fucking drawers next to the bed and the room that people stay in.
I guarantee Charles keeps his porn in the study.
Yeah.
I guarantee that's his space.
Well, yeah, and like probably what happens is he pulls a book of all his philosophy books into his bookshelf,
moves, turns around,
it flips around as a secret, and it's just all porn there. So that's what he has. But exactly, he's smart about it. I wasn't smart about it.
Guy's dad's a philosopher, so
but you break that down, and then it's like, okay, so wait a second. So how did that? So they came across this porn. So clearly they're cleaning out my room, open up the drawers, see all this porn, and then it's like, Mum sees it, and she's like, oh my God, Abby, you've got to get up here and see all this porn. Mm-hmm. And she goes, what? Go, guys, porn. There's just a bunch of porn here. It's
anal.
Porn's
What's
everywhere.
This one?
And she's like, oh my God, gross. And she goes up and she goes, oh, what is all this stuff? And then her husband, now husband, Dwight, goes, what? Guy's got a bunch of porn? What is this? Why would he have this? What is Asian Dolls Uncut? And why are all these magazines so old? Why would you have porno magazines from 1980s? What, does he just like retro girls or something? This is weird. This is really weird. And then my dad is like, hey, what's going on here? And they're like, guy's porn. He's got all this porn in his drawer and Grandma's coming. This isn't right. And so he goes up and he's like, my Lord, look at all this Asian Dolls Uncut. So it seems our son has a real thing for Asians. He's got an Asian fetish. Mm-hmm. And so they're all deliberating and debating my weird pornos.
Yep.
And then they're like, well, who's going to
tell him?
Who's going to tell him? Who's going to tell him? And my mom's like, well, I don't want to tell him. He's my son. I can't tell him. And Dad's like,
who did tell you then? Your sister?
Yeah, I think my sister was like, oh God, what? You're saying I have to tell him? They're like, it's your wedding, right? You want him to move the porn. That's the reason. So yeah, it's kind of up to you. And so my sister's like, my God, I've got to tell my perverted old brother, about his perverted pornos and tell him to move those
and his handcuffs
and his
cable ties,
bondage cuffs,
his cable ties,
down away from where my grandma is staying.
So where'd you put them all?
So I picked up the whole drawer, didn't just take them out, obviously, and take them down separately. Picked up the whole drawer, put it in the garage.
Why did you not throw them away?
It's a good question.
Nostalgia.
Wankstalgia, which is a real thing. That's a good question, because I think I did actually debate doing it.
Because that seems to me that...
Well, look, I really regret it now.
That's the only logical thing to do.
I'm filled with regret now.
You're never going to watch them again. You're never going to... for a start, my computer
doesn't even have a DVD
player. And I'm not going to whack off about an 80s muff porn, not when you've got the abundance of the internet, the fruits of the internet.
Where you can just type in an error,
yeah,
and it'll just
if you want to type in 80s
those
porn,
options, that you'll see some stuff.
Exactly, and you don't need Asian dolls uncut because you've got exploitedteensasia.com.
How do you know about that?
I just, what?
Okay. So, yeah, it was like a big mistake on my behalf. I did think at the time, like when I was leaving, I was packing everything up and I saw all that and I was like, well, I'm the only one that stays here. There is an actual another spare room. So when people stay in a spare room, it's not my room. My room is just my room.
So you thought you'd keep it just in case one day you decide to have a wank.
Wanks for the memories.
Just in case you decide
for the memories.
Dust off those DVDs and have an old-fashioned retro
dust off those
wank.
DVDs and dust one off.
Yeah. The thing is about watching it on DVD is you can't even, if
the resolution is terrible.
Yeah,
4:3.
Crappy resolution.
Come on.
4:3. Also, when you're watching it on a computer, right, you can get started at the beginning. You can skip the talking real easy. Then you can sort of ease into the sex, ease into
and then you click the different bits.
And then you're like, oh, I better get to the end because I'm finishing soon. And then you skip right to the end.
Yeah,
but you can't really do that on the DVD. Fast forwarding,
you're scrubbing, it's inaccurate. You go too far, and you get to the next girl.
Oh, you got to go back.
You got to go back.
Oh, it's gone. I came.
It's gone already.
I came.
And so I guess it was just a thing of like, well, no one's ever gonna find this. I was like, I really thought in my head, I was like, well, the only time that they're gonna come across this is when I die. And I was like, and I'm probably gonna die way later, so I'm probably good.
Yeah,
that was okay. I thought wrong. I was betrayed by my porn stash.
I'm more mean now. Why did you keep the now?
Well, what do you mean?
Because you took them into the garage.
Whole thing down.
Yeah, why didn't you just take them out to the rubbish bin?
Look, we've had some good times, me and those pawns. You
don't even live there.
I don't live there.
This is in Dunedin. He's talking about in Dunedin. We live in Auckland now.
And not only that, I don't use them when I'm there.
Yeah.
It was just, it was just a bit
I've got no excuse.
It's an attachment. But yeah, look, I deeply regret not throwing them away when I moved out. That is what I deeply regret.
Yeah.
Another funny thing about me getting caught with porn
Yeah.
Is I brought back a bunch of porn from London in a box and customs opened it up.
Yeah. Now, sir, are you importing pornography?
Sir, do you have an Asian fetish? / retro 80s fetish.
So
that we should know about.
Did you take the porn with you to London?
I definitely took. I've taken porn everywhere I've gone. At that time, because it was a different. What the kids have to understand, it was a different time back then.
It was a different era.
It was a different era. The porn was not just.
Wanking was fraught with danger.
Well, look, at the time that I went to London initially, you wouldn't be watching videos on the internet. You'd be waiting 10 hours for one image to load. On a dial-up going.
Yeah, and it would load from the top. It would load from the top down. So you'd get the top of her head. Then you get her forehead, then you get her eyes and her nose. By the time you get to the important bits, you've come.
Yeah. Also I will say that, my girlfriend at the time, liked a few of those porns as well, which I brought over to London in the first place. But, so basically I just kept getting caught with this porn. And also it seems like I have an Asian fetish, which is not 100% true.
Well, it's not true, is it?
I now say that it's not true. Now, I have a non-white girl fetish.
Yeah.
So as girls that aren't white.
Yeah, you whiteys need to sort your shit out.
Yeah, you whiteys are disgusting to me. That's not true. I love all beautiful women and am happy to sleep with any.
Yeah.
But
as long as your figure is good.
As long as you're not what did that guy say? I can't remember what he said. Let's throw this. You started the Asian fetish thing, Harley.
Did I?
Yeah. By lusting after
Asian girls. Yeah. I definitely went through an Asian girls fetish phase there in my, I guess, early 20s.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Where,
it was all Asians all the time.
Yeah.
So what happened? Let me ask you this. How did you transition to no longer having an Asian fetish? too much of a good thing?
Well, you know, I
Have steak every night, eventually get some steak.
Well, my girlfriend's sitting right behind us.
Explain the story.
Well, you know, I moved. I tasted Latino,
Right.
and you know,
So you developed a new fetish.
I'd crap, and so yeah.
You got yourself a new fetish then.
Yeah, I moved on to the Latinas.
Right, so you transitioned.
Yeah.
What was it about them that trumped the Asians?
Well, I think that, I mean, this is a massive generalization,
Sure.
but I just find that on average, the average Latina is probably more attractive than most other women in the world.
Right.
You know, you go, you know, even the
His
most...
girlfriend's right there. So
No, but even the...
it's landing on thick now.
Even the most, you know, when you walk down a Latin American street, right, you know, the women there, even like the most average woman by their standards is pretty damn hot by our standards. And I just feel like, you know, just generally speaking, the Latinas are more beautiful than any of the other women in the world.
Right. So it wasn't a situation of hitting it and then quitting it.
Well, no. And then also though, you know, the language as well. I was much more interested in learning Spanish and speaking Spanish
Right.
than learning, you know, Chinese or Japanese or
Yeah.
Korean or anything like that as well. So that added a whole other element, or Thai, you know, exactly. Or Thai, she chimed in. So I added in a whole other element.
Right. Yeah. Well,
We'll talk about this when she's gone.
yeah, okay. Well, I guess we got to...
In 6 months. Couple of hours.
We better...
Wrap it up?
We better wrap it up.
We better.
So thank you very much for listening. This has been a sex education podcast, this one. Mm-hmm. Sprinkled with some filmmaking thoughts. Mm-hmm. But I've enjoyed my time.
As have I. So make sure you give us some topics for next week by going to facebook.com/GuyAndHarley and clicking like on our page and sending your topics to us there. Also, search our YouTube channel, Pigville. Search for Pigville on YouTube. You'll find us and you can check out our rap videos and all the other things that we spoke about today. And... make sure you give us a good review on iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating and preferably write us a little review like, these guys are really funny. And I know that Blair Martin said he was going to do it. I don't know if he's done it yet. So Blair, if you're listening, make sure you write it out. Be like, yeah, man, I'm not even into filmmaking, but these guys make it fun and interesting. They've got a great rapport. You can tell they're mates. Or
there you go.
Like
we
that.
just wrote it for you.
We just wrote it for you. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for listening, and we will see you next week.
See you later.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.